Hi, welcome back to my kitchen. So today I'm going to be making something that we call SLAPKOEK. It's definitely not sleep cake, but I don't know what it is. So it's basically like a vanilla cake that you make normally in a flat baking tray and then you cut it up. So it's something that you can make to quickly eat for like afternoon tea. I remember in my house we used to eat it sometimes for in the morning for breakfast. But yeah, I'm just going to show you my mother's recipe that she sort of remembers. It actually turns out quite well, so I think if you try it, you'll probably have the same results. Let's get to it. So on here, I've got my ingredients already measured out. I've got my eggs, salt, baking powder, vanilla essence. I've got cake flour that I'm using. Just a quick note, don't replace the cake flour for the self-raising flour because you don't need bicarbonate for this mixture, and self-rising flour does have bicarbs, so don't do that, just use cake flour. And then I've got sugar, and in here I've got milk and butter that I'm going to boil the milk in the butter and mix it together, and that's the mixture that's going to be the wet mix that I'm going to use for my SLAPKOEK. So I'm actually going to start with that process, and then we can come back and I can show you just how to put it together. Okay, let's get started. It's just getting some tea in me. I'm going to start with the eggs. So I have a funny story about the eggs. So the person who gave me the recipe didn't give me an exact number of eggs. I asked actually, I was like, how many eggs should I put in, Mom? And she said, however many eggs you have. Now that's really hilarious, taking into consideration that the people in this house go through about a tray of eggs per fortnight. So I actually demanded that she gives me a number, and we ended up at 4. But it works. So the most important thing is to start with the eggs. So what we need to do with the eggs is we need to mix them so that they are nice and airy. So that takes a little bit of doing, and that is why I start with that first. Oh yeah, do you like my hair? The look, actually. It's actually inspired by a new Netflix original that I watched last night with South African actors shot in South Africa, South African producers. Yay! Actually, very exciting, but back to the hair. So yeah, one of the characters there, I think her name is Dineo Mudau, Desperate Bay. She had this hair on, and I remembered that I also had this hair on. And I'm every woman, so yeah, I'm wearing this hair today. Hope you like it. Okay, done with the mixing of the eggs. So remember we heated the milk and then put the butter in earlier on. So before you start introducing that warm mixture, you need to make sure that it cools all the way down, right? So that's why I'm going to try to do everything else before I go there. Just the vanilla essence has gone in. And don't worry about the quantities. I'll make sure to have them in the description box. So my milk and butter mix has cooled down. You need to definitely make sure that you cool yours down. Otherwise, the hot milk is going to cook the eggs. And I don't think we're going for an omelette. I think we're going more for like a cakey consistency. So please make sure that it's cool. And then in there, I'm going to be adding my sugar. I don't know if you realize, but I really do gravitate very strongly to recipes that only use like one bowl and one pan. because I don't want to do so much cleaning up. And if you have a little cleaning up to do, it sort of makes it easier, or it makes it an incentive to make more food. So that's what I do. Okay, so that's my wet ingredient mix. And now I've got my flour in here. Remember we said cake flour? I'm just going to add the baking powder to the cake flour, and then I'm going to add the salt. And then I am going to be, let's try to remove this a little bit. Then I'm going to be adding my flour into the mix, but I am sieving it. The reason I'm showing you guys the sieve this time is because I've got a new sieve. So consider yourselves being salted. Okay. Just make sure you sieve it all in. Now I'm just going to prepare my pan. Just putting on some cook and spray because I want to be able to remove it easily. If you've got baking paper, use that. And when you're going to use cook and spray, just maybe go to the door. Go and spray it somewhere else where all of that compressed butter is not going to go into your system. That would be a very smart thing to do. So I've just made sure that everywhere in my pan, I've greased it nicely. You can also just use butter. It's not an issue, but you just have to put a lot to make sure that it comes out. Because remember, we're going to take it out and cut it into squares. I might not know the English name for SLAPKOEK, but I know you know what I'm talking about. It needs to come out and it needs to be cut into squares so that one greedy person doesn't eat the whole pan. I am one greedy person. So it might look a little flat right now. Don't worry about it too much because remember, we've got baking powder in here, so it's going to have a nice rise. And we've also got the undisclosed amount of eggs, so you're going to have that puffy effect, but it's almost going to taste like cake that you have made using butter instead of oil. It's really rich, really creamy, and is wonderful as a snack. So this is what you're looking for. So if you want to, you can put in some nuts, some dried fruits, and I don't know if you know those glazed cherries. You get the different colors. A family member of mine puts those glazed cherries in here. It's actually quite a nice treat to find a nice little sweet glazed cherry inside, so you can do that as well. But I'm going to be doing mine plain. So from here we're going into the oven, and then I'll show you when it comes out. Welcome back. So it actually took me 15 minutes to get this. As you can see, very golden brown. And it's puffed up. I'm just going to touch it a little bit so you can see. It's actually puffed up all the way up. So basically how we normally present it or normally eat it is we would cut it into little blocks, and then we put it into like some pan or a plate or whatever. Then you can take your bit from there. So it was quick to make. It took a very short space of time, but you always have to do the doneness cake. So I just take a toothpick and then just poke a toothpick in the thickest part of the cake to make sure that it is completely cooked, right? So you don't have like a half-cooked cake come out the oven. And then I'm just going to cut some, and I'm going to take some out for you to see. I'm actually aiming for the middle because that's my favorite part. But anyway, you're going to get to see it. So that's how quickly it is to put together. And remember, I said it's very important that you grease the pan properly so that your cake comes out perfectly. And there we are. As you can see, nice and thick, very, very spongy, and it smells very good. So I'm just going to try and take out the rest. It's normally really easy to take out if you have greased your pan properly. So basically that's how easy it is to make my mama's SLAPKOEK. This is the piece that I always try and get to. Nice, thick and spongy. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed watching the video. Remember to like the video, leave me a comment, and also if you like, you can share with a friend so that they also have a recipe of a nice tea cake that they can make for tea time or even in the morning, especially on the colder mornings. Remember to like the video, remember to subscribe, and see you next time. Bye bye.